Let's see how that's going with NBC News senior White House correspondent Garrett Haake, NBC business and data correspondent Brian Chung in New York, and former chair of the Council of Economic Advisors under President Biden, Jared Bernstein. Garrett, first to you, what more do we know about this decision to pump the brakes on added EU tariffs?
Yeah, Ali, I think our viewers could be forgiven for not even knowing that this threat took place, given how short-lived it was, with the president rolling out these 50% tariff threat against European countries the same day he promised to jack up the prices of iPhones with increased tariffs there on Friday. Then over the weekend, after apparently a single phone call with the European Commission president, the president decided to kick back the deadline to its original July 9th timeframe. Listen to how he explained his reversal last night.
She asked for an extension on the June 1st date, and she said she wants to get down to serious negotiation because I told you specifically, I told anybody that would listen, they have to do that. And we had a very nice call, and I agreed to move it. I believe June 9th would be, July 9th would be the date.
Ali, we know President Trump's long been skeptical of the European Union in general. He has expressed frustration more recently that he didn't sort of feel like those negotiations were going at a good pace. And it's worth pointing out that it is Howard Lutnick, his Commerce Secretary, who's leading the negotiations with Europe, not Scott Bessent, who I think is viewed perhaps as a more credible negotiating partner by many places in the rest of the world. So this has been a bit of a mess after this brief fire-lighting exercise over the weekend. Now we're back where we started when it comes to European tariffs.
And we know, Brian, how much the markets hate a mess, but Europe's our second largest trading partner, too. So just contextualize what a trade feud with them actually means for consumers.
Yeah, and just to take a step back here, Ali, what's so complicated about specifically the U.S. negotiations with the European Union is the nature of the European Union, which is that it is a block of countries. Even Ursula von der Leyen has to figure out among their member countries whether or not these negotiations with the United States are advancing their individual priorities as well. But if we just take a step back and talk about the nature of this dynamic, yes, this is a very, very complex relationship, and it is one where the United States does have a trade deficit, where the U.S. imports over $600 billion in goods from the European Union, and the United States exports in the other direction $370 billion. This is significant because of the fact that this is basically the bright line test that the administration is using with every other country that it's negotiating with for trying to narrow the trade deficit with other countries. Now, when it comes to the types of goods that can therefore get more expensive under a prospective 50% tariff, that would cover goods like obviously cheeses and wines. But when you look at the overall categories of things that we actually buy from the European Union, what's more significant are things like aircraft, motor vehicles, and I think a lot of people forget about this, pharmaceutical products. We import a lot of pharmaceutical products from the European Union. So even though this announcement does suggest that we have a little bit more time before we actually face that type of tariff, those are the types of categories that at a consumer-facing level could certainly get more expensive, Ali.
Yeah, really critical reminders there. But Jared, Trump and then other top administration officials said the EU counteroffer wasn't good enough for them. It's not the first time the president's been surprised or frustrated by the tariff response from other countries or companies. Think Canada, China, or even Mattel and Walmart. Has Trump miscalculated other partners' willingness to play ball his way on this?
I think he has, but let me start by just saying Happy Memorial Day to the panel, to you, Ali, everyone who's listening, and a day when we honor and remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice for on behalf of our freedom. I think you're exactly right about that. I think if you look at what some of the negotiators are saying, they are on to what's going on here, which is essentially Trumpian chaos. When this announcement first came out, I happened to be on this show, and I said, there's no way this is going to stick. And I'm not considering myself any kind of clairvoyant prognosticator, just to be clear. It's just obvious that the president is thrashing about. He's not happy with the negotiations. And as we just heard, there's 27 countries in this bloc, so it's not a simple piece of work. I think the thing we need to be most concerned about here is that this is yet another example of the uncertainty that hurts the economy, and I mean the U.S. economy. Businesses, particularly small businesses that are really not particularly insulated against this kind of challenge. They just don't have the deep coffers or the capital buffers to withstand this kind of chaos, they're hurt and they're sitting on their hands. They're putting off investment, and that's going to show up as slower growth, probably some pressure on the unemployment rate. We're already seeing pressure on prices, pressure on interest rates. All of this is a negative for the U.S. economy, and I think we should be very clear about that.
I'm just glad that Jared's crystal ball is working, because Garrett, mine's been kind of out of commission for a few years now. But I think the other concern of the trade war is the way that it bleeds into diplomacy, which begs the question, why not just talk to these other countries first? When you're a U.S. ally getting the same trade treatment as a China or a Venezuela, isn't the White House worried that that damages the U.S. relationship with these other countries?
Ali, I mean, you might very well think so, but that's just not been the way that Donald Trump does business. And I think the good news for the public more broadly in terms of how these negotiations are conducted is that most of these leaders understand that now. When you look at someone like Keir Starmer in Great Britain, who's already struck up a pretty good relationship with Donald Trump, who's managed to use that to good effect, or Emmanuel Macron, who's known Trump for much longer, these foreign leaders understand that the traditional way of doing business and striking these trade deals isn't what they're up against. And they have learned to manage the mercurial nature of the one person at the top of the decision-making flow chart here at the White House, which is Donald Trump. But it is incumbent on those countries, I think, to manage that relationship, because this White House, the way it's structured, especially in this term, is designed to let Donald Trump be Donald Trump, no matter how disruptive that is to anything else.
Yeah, and then, Brian, I want to take it a level deeper on the consumer level, because when you look at the companies who are raising prices or expected to raise their prices, it really runs the gamut. You've got big box retail stores, shoes, cars, toys, e-commerce. It's American companies, it's Asian companies, European companies. Nobody seems to be insulated from this. So will we see more brands added to that list before July, especially the way that things are going now?
Yeah, I mean, if these tariffs are prolonged and if the scale and scope of them do remain high, then yes, absolutely. I want to point out, though, that most of the consumer-facing brands that people will be familiar with are oftentimes importing specifically from China. If you think about electronics at Best Buy and Walmart, if you think about clothing at Target, in many cases, almost all of those types of goods are coming in from China. And if that is indeed the case, that importers are paying the bill of these higher tariffs, which we know is kind of how it works, then yes, those costs do bleed onto consumers. That makes the fact that there's a 30% tariff rate on China so significant, even though I think people could be excused for wanting to say, oh, I thought the whole China conflict was, substantially de-escalated. Yeah, but we still have to remember that even though 145% was basically crippling for, buyers such that they were just canceling orders from China, even a 30% tariff is still substantially more, lifted than it was before the president entered office at the beginning of this year. So a 30% tariff could still lead to pretty substantial price increases. You have to remember right around now, even though it's only May, I'm certainly not thinking about shopping for the holidays, but retailers are. This is around the time that they start to put those orders in. If they face a 30% tariff on that now, guess what? They're going to start to raise prices once we get closer to the holiday season as well.
Yeah, immensely hard for them to plan. And we're hearing that story play out from bigger businesses all the way to small businesses who are having to make some really tough decisions right now. And Jared, I think the larger question is, what's it all for, right? According to the White House, the goal of the worldwide tariffs is for the U.S. to become a manufacturing powerhouse again. But now even Trump has backed off some of the aspects of that. Watch.
We're not looking to make sneakers and T-shirts. We want to make military equipment. We want to make big things. We want to do the AI thing with the computers and the many elements. But the textile, I'm not looking to make T-shirts, to be honest. I'm not looking to make socks. We can do that very well at other locations. We are looking to do chips and computers and lots of other things.
Okay, so kiss your dream of making American socks goodbye. But, Jared, bring out the crystal ball again and tell me if you think this vision of the U.S. economy that Trump is trying to force into being is realistic, and how long it would even take.
Well, let me just say I got one obvious call right. That doesn't make me a crystal baller, but I'm gonna answer your question anyway. Here's a pretty solid prediction based on historical evidence. The U.S. economy is not going to deindustrialize. It's just not going to happen. If you look at Germany, a country with persistent trade surpluses, they've had trade surpluses for as long as we've had trade deficits. their manufacturing sector has also declined as a share of total employment, much like ours has. This is just the way it works. As economies advance, they tend to drift more towards services and less toward manufacturing, in part towards the automation that the president was just referring to. And he's right. We don't want to make textiles here. We don't want to have people putting little screws in iPhones. But it is a good idea to enhance our ability to produce, for example, semiconductors. You're just not going to get there with sweeping tariffs. So how are you going to get there? Well, look at the CHIPS Act, which was really a very successful piece of work in the Biden administration, where you saw numerous companies come here, including the really renowned Taiwanese manufacturer of semiconductors, TSMC, and they're building football field size fabrication plants, numerous ones in states across this nation, not because of sweeping tariffs, but because of the subsidies in the CHIPS Act. So, the right way to do this is much more with carrots and sticks, but the administration will persist in trying to go about this the wrong way.